it is a weird thing. It's like it almost it reminds me almost of like anti-Semitism. Like some people, like in certain contexts, people are very happy to talk about anti-Semitism, and then if it gets even a little bit tied in with politics in the Middle East, oh, now the whole argument gets crazy, and nobody wants to talk about it anymore, and it just gets completely separated. And like, but that's not of use to people that are getting attacked on the street. You know, and so ironically, it's like, this is something that, you know, the American society, I think it struggles with. It's like, if you want to spread light on a topic, that makes it political. If it's political, all of a sudden the fight starts. But at the base level, that seems stupid, because like everybody should be on the side of not attacking aunties and uncles on the street. It's who's in like, can we first figure out who's not on team, you know, safety? And then that'll make everything pretty simple. Like, you know, like, but
that's and also that's something I feel that's interesting about America as well. Something bad happens. Instead of addressing the root of the problem, we should get together and figure out how do we feel better about it.
Well, that is an interesting point. It's like, because I mean, like, there's always kind of like two ways around this, especially like in LA. Like, this is kind of what I feel like with the homelessness situation. I live in downtown LA. There's a lot of homeless in downtown LA. And a lot of people in other parts of the city, they're like, I could never live there because of the homelessness. I'm like, you know, they're still homeless even if you live somewhere else. Like, it doesn't go away if you're living somewhere else. You may not literally see it every day, but the problem wasn't solved at all. But you feel better about it, maybe.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I don't feel like if America is this way, I don't feel any sort of like better or worse about living in the area where you see the stuff. I also was used to being in, you know, I lived in a bunch of different areas, and like, you know, in Beijing, you know, my neighbors were not homeless at all. People were prosperous, but they were poorer than Americans. And many people in the hutongs, it's like some old ladies, like, you know, that house is valuable, but like they don't have tons of money. And I wasn't worried they were going to steal my TV. Like, you know, I was like, look, it's like people don't do that stuff on the whole. Like, it's like you're generally way safer than you think you are. And it's not going to, you're not going to be more or less safe because you move to a different neighborhood. You know, like it's you know, it's crazy.
That's it is I don't know how, I don't have a solution for it. It's just that I just want to say one thing. You know, once I was driving on a highway in LA, all of a sudden everybody stops, and it turns out this big wind was blowing a tent across the street.
The tent from underneath the highway, like being blocked by the tent.
But this tent is crossing the street. I was like, oh no, and everybody stops. We're like, oh no, this is homeless guy just lost his home again. You know,
exactly.
Horrible. And there was a guy in the tent too. You know, just he stuck his head out. And I just feel that, you know, how many people are one or two paychecks away from being that guy. There are a lot.
And this goes back to what you said. It's like people want to think about it well. They don't want to think about that problem. But it's a big problem in this country.
That problem is not that far away from you.
No.
Actually,
And I think because people don't want to think about it that way. I mean, from my angle, as you know, I'm one generation younger, perhaps. Like when I grew up, it was like if you were rich, you had a big house. If you were middle class, you had a house. If you were like a little less money, you lived with roommates. If you were really in trouble, you lived in your car. And then if you really, really were in trouble, you were homeless. Now it's like you need to be rich to have a house.
I know.
You need to be rich. And then if you're middle class, you have roommates. I know people in their 30s, they still have roommates. And it's not. And part of it's because obviously like there's good parts to having roommates and it's social. But like, what are you going to do in a major city? Like, you know, it's like it's a real luxury to not have a roommate. And the money that I spend on having a one-bedroom apartment previously, 30 years ago, I could have gotten a mortgage. You know, like, you know, I could have had a house. But
that's another story. You know, people say the American dream is a house, a car, you know, but then now I realize the American dream is basically a mortgage and a car loan.
Well, I don't know. But, and this has been the thing is like going back, it's like I have no interest in getting a mortgage and a car loan if I could avoid it. Like one of the reasons I almost didn't move to LA is because I need a car. I was thinking like if I could live in New York or be in Boston somewhere where I didn't need a car, I'd rather not. But And like, in the house thing is as well, like, my life is between Asia and America right now. I don't know if it's the right move to, get a house. Like what, I don't know. But it's,
But you need a car in LA.
You need a car in LA. So I did get a car in LA.
Yeah,
But I think that, like, the American dream is kind of like, it's the old version of it is much harder to get, but the new version of it that
let's hear the new version of the American dream.
Honestly, like, I feel like I'm kind of doing the new version of the American dream. Like, my life, I do very little work that I hate. I get to spend my time entertaining people, making people happy, being creative. It's a lot of work to run social media and all that sort of stuff and do shows, and I have to pay for my own health care. I have to do, like, there's a lot of pressure on me that wouldn't happen if I just got a job. But even for people that just get a job, the jobs now are not 9 hours of press this button every day. It's not 9 hours of, like, your boss is going to be sexist to you and you just have to take it. Like, the new American dream, I kind of feel, is just like, you may not materially be better off than your parents, but the way you spend your time is going to be better than the way your parents spent their time.
I think that's way better, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think it's not bad.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, just how many years do you have in your life? You know, like, my dad worked in the same factory for 30-something years.
How did he do it? Like,
I know.
This is the question. Like, I don't think I would make it 4 months of.
Well, there is something to be said about having a job you see the same coworkers every day.
That's nice, but
but
you can choose that if you have the flexibility
exactly.
And nowadays companies are realizing it, especially for people that are college educated and have some sort of soft skills involved. Yeah. You can choose to work at a company with 10 people or 10,000. And there are going to be good options at both.
Yeah, you can do part-time.
Or, exactly.
Every Tuesday you get together with the homework.
To be honest, if in America we had a better, public healthcare system that was less expensive, it was less penalizing to run your own thing.
That's a huge problem.
That would be that was one of the big reasons you talk about American dream. I was able to do this because in China the rent was lower.
Yeah.
In China, even the private healthcare, I paid $3,000 a year for the fanciest healthcare you could get at Beijing United Family Hospital. 胡家医院, shout out. Good surgery on my sinus. Whereas like back in the States, it's like, it's this insurance, that insurance. The cost of being an independent person is very high.
I know. Yeah. Everybody says the rugged American individualism, but you get punished for it.
Well, this is the same. You get punished, and it's the same. This is what I think of when in China you have this 吃苦, just suffering
the school
culture.
Of hard knocks or something.
School of hard knocks is like this idea that it's like with if you didn't suffer a little, you probably are not getting like the real deal. To get anything worthwhile, you have to suffer.
Yeah.
But it winds up glorifying suffering.
Yeah.
It's like I think it was you told me this. Didn't you say that you tried to learn English by reading the whole dictionary?
I'm not reading the whole dictionary. I'm memorizing the whole
dictionary. You memorize the whole dictionary. And I remember I heard that story. I was like, that is incredibly impressive, and also like I wish you had just had a tutor. It doesn't have to be that hard.
Why do you think I can afford a tutor?
Well, this is the thing.
I can afford a dictionary.
But that was the thing. I was like, this is where it's like a better human system would be one where if you had that drive to learn English, you should have had more than just a dictionary. And hopefully in the next generation, I think in generation China now people do. But like same for America. It's like if you want to start a business or whatever, like how many people are like, I'm terrified to lose my job because of the healthcare.
I'm
terrified to lose my job because the mortgage.
Exactly.
Said I'm terrified to lose my job because I'm tied to this school system and I don't think another school system will work. That's pretty rough. And there's no reason, just in the same way, there's no reason for you to for people like the only tool you have to be a dictionary. There are better ways of doing things.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's kind of hard. I wonder, I've been trying to figure out like what the right angle is when I have comedy on these topics. So
that's my problem too. Even in America, we talked about this anti-Asian racism, even discrimination. A lot of them actually came from the liberals. They just do it without
They don't think of themselves as people that do that.
Or they don't even care how Asians will feel about it. You know, they will be very careful about, African Americans or this and that, or,
they don't think about Asians at all.
Or, when it comes to Asians, when I was in Hollywood just a couple of years ago, they just say to my face, "Oh, we don't want any Asian family shows."
You're like, you could never say that about, like, we don't have black families on the TV. You could never say that.
You can never say that. And also, another time, like Jim Gaffigan and I were put together for a show. They were like, "Oh, we don't want any Asian psychics." They just say this way.
Who's saying?
Just,
I'm not getting paid as much, but still. Is that what you meant?
But I think our time is running out. But before we, I just want to talk a little bit about your. You're doing a lot of stuff on tea, right?
Yeah. I'm glad to talk about the tea.
So,
this was
who are your audience now? Like mostly Asian people here in the United States.
So
or
it's
everybody?
not. So I'll tell you the tea story. It's actually a really funny story.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, I had all these followers, and I was on TV, and I had that big hit video.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do live shows, and I also couldn't stream because I don't have a Chinese ID, so I can't do streaming. So I was in this situation where the only way I had to make money during the pandemic was doing ads. And I would get all these horrible products, like sell blenders for us. I'm like, I don't want to sell blenders. Like, what did I spend all this money all this time and energy trying to be a good comedian so I could sell blenders? This doesn't make any sense. So I tried to solve two birds with one stone. I'm like, I'm going to start a 线上茶馆. I'm going to start an online tea house, which will be a private tea house. And every month you'll actually get some tea, which I really like and I know about. I was like, if I'm going to sell a product, I'll sell something I know that's good.
Yeah.
I had really good tea in China from all the friends that I knew, my tea friends in China for 10 years drinking tea. And I was going to sell the tea box that came with access to a private WeChat group where I could do online shows without having to send in scripts. Because if it's private and you just give people a link, you can do whatever you want. So while I was getting the paperwork to try to get that done in China, it turned out you need a lot of paperwork to sell tea in China. I started taking tea videos and putting them on the Western internet, and people just started asking all these great questions. It just got real traffic. People were really interested. Not Chinese people. The audience is 99.5% not Asian.
That's interesting.
It's all new people,
Yeah, because, coming from China, one of the weirdest thing I found in the United States or Western countries is the tea bag,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, well, why do you do this? The tea is from China, the paper is from China, and you put them together. That's Lipton.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a whole story behind this where the British took the tea plant and they planted in all the colonies, but they didn't take the technique to process the tea. So what happened is that British tea tastes evolved from having Chinese tea that was on a ship for 2 months. And then by the time it got to Britain, it wasn't good anymore. So they added stuff in it, milk, sugar, lemon peel, everything to make it good and to cut the tea because it was too expensive to just do straight tea. So the British tea style evolved from a point of scarcity and not knowing what the hell they were doing. And now I'm not going to bash the whole of the British tea system now. Now you can get good tea and you can have a blend with good tea. It doesn't mean the tea is bad, but it didn't come from that. And so the tea bag, similarly, they were thinking if tea is so expensive, how do we sell little tiny amounts of tea so regular people could get it? And that's why you have a tiny amount of tea in that bag. And in China, where they had good tea, they just never did any of this stuff. And so, but one of the reasons why I think it works really well is like I genuinely think that stand-up is an antidote to a lot of the challenges of Chinese life. Like, I think Chinese people should be watching stand-up. They should be doing stand-up. I think it's healthy to go up with a mic and say what you think, and to think about how to talk to people, and as an audience to be able to laugh and think about all sorts of topics. I think that's really healthy and something that Chinese culture lacks. I think that tea is something American culture lacks. We take coffee like a drug. We're like, I need my coffee to get going. It's really unhealthy. It's not, the caffeine is not as unhealthy as the mentality. The mentality is like, I need to drug myself to live. and when the tea culture is completely different, it's like, I'm going to calm down. I'm going to invite a friend over. We're going to talk. We're going to make this tea. It's going to bring, the caffeine brings focus, but it's not focus because I'm drugged. It's focused because I want to focus on what I'm doing. I want to, in the Western culture, we call this mindfulness, which I don't use that term a lot because it's kind of based with yoga. And but that's what it is. It's like the Chinese tea culture, the traditional Gong Fu Cha culture is based around people. It's around being as good of a host as you can. I have you over.
Yeah.
I want to do the best I can for you.
The whole ceremony with,
ceremony, table,
and
and like, what tea do you want? Make it as well as you can.
Yeah.
And what I found is that's what the American audience is attaching themselves to. They say, I don't talk to my wife enough. Like I get a lot of people. They're like, I bought this tea table for my wife, and we drink tea together all the time and talk for hours. I have people, veterans, are like, I have PTSD, and I have anxiety, and doing the tea forces me to calm down. It's something I can do in my hands.
There's the whole ritual, right?
I even had a guy who was a comedian who told me that they found me through the comedy page, and they found the tea. And then he was like, I had a bad cocaine problem, and I was about to buy drugs, and I realized if I have the money to buy drugs, I can buy Jesse's tea table. And he went back on
That's the best advertisement for you.
I should
if
do
you
a
have
video
the
on
money
this guy.
for cocaine, you have the money for Jesse's tea table.
Because it was like, and then he was like, and it was the best. It was much better use of my money than buying drugs. I'm like, But that's kind of the thing is like, I think that American society, like, I think that all the Chinese brands that try to come into America, a lot of them are doing it completely backwards. Whereas there's all this, I don't want to be made in China. And so they're coming from a point of cultural weakness to say, don't think of me as this way. And they're not saying, what do I really have that can make your life better? Like even if it's cheaper, it makes your life better. Don't spend the money. It's just as good and it's cheaper. Would be a confident way of saying made in China or whatever. But like for the things like Chinese tea culture from the traditional culture, like that's been around for thousands of years. It's real good. It's really good. And in America, we have the tea bag. It's like the equivalent of like, somebody has high-speed rail and everybody else is on a donkey. It really is that different. And I think being able to share that with people, I think they get a chance to see it. And I also think it was an unfair advantage as a tea person to actually be a legit comedian, and because all the other tea people are not that interesting, like compared to the videos are maybe not as good.
Okay, well,
but the tea thing has also been good in a second way because the problem for a lot of comedians or online creators, how do you make money? And the tea has now allowed me to say, okay, my life in LA is paid for by the tea. I don't need to go and do a random corporate party in Zhejiang to make a living. I can try to select which comedy projects I feel are really culturally valuable and then try to do a better job of that. Whereas in 2020, I was like screwed. I was $0.
Oh yeah.
Because
I totally get it.
You get it. So yeah, but next time I'm going to have you over for tea and you can do another episode.
Exactly. That would be lovely. Well, thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate
really enjoyed our conversation.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much. And everybody watching, Joe is a real inspiration for us bilingual comedians. I don't have anyone to look at.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
So it's great.
I wish you the best of luck with your comedy here in LA and your tea.
And hopefully we'll get. Hopefully my visa eventually will come through and I'll see you in China again.
Sure.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Well, thanks so much. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate
really enjoyed our conversation.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much. And everybody watching, Joe is a real inspiration for us bilingual comedians. I don't have anyone to look at.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
So it's great.
I wish you the best of luck with your comedy here in LA and your tea.
And hopefully we'll get. Hopefully my visa eventually will come through and I'll see you in China again.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Well, thanks so much. Yeah, appreciate it.
Bye.
Yeah.